Heavenly Father, we lift up our municipal public water representatives, grant them wisdom to make sound decisions, integrity to manage our resources faithfully, and the strength to protect the health and safety of our community. Bless their hard work so that every home receives clean, abundant, and life-giving water. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one faith, under God, one and indivisible. Well, it's so difficult. Like the Texas pledge came out when I was in like middle school or something like that, and like you used to have to like put your hand out like you're shaking hands.
You're doing that.
It was weird. Yeah, and then they like changed it
You're on
when I
record.
was out of. So it's cool.
We need to do this before we.
All right, receive comments for the public. Public. Cool.
We do have public.
Receive president and director comments. Comments?
Anybody have anything?
All right. Lunch was really good. Consider an act on request for adjustments to or relief from the specific charges imposed by the district. Thank you. Consent agenda 6 through 9. Anything we need to pull out and table and vote separately?
I don't have anything.
No, I don't
Okay.
have anything.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda 6 through 9, please?
The consent agenda 6 through 9.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you very much. Regular agenda, acceptance of qualification statement, bonds, oath of office, and affidavits of current director for directors Apostolo and Dodd.
So if you want me to, John, go ahead and cover items 10 through 16.
Knock them out, man.
Yeah, these should be pretty quick since y'all don't have any changes on your board.
Yeah.
So first item 10 is to accept all the documents we have to seek Chris and Sean for their new terms of office. We do have those, and we'll go ahead and consider a motion to accept them now.
Do we need to sign and then motion?
Well,
Just sign it before we leave?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can we get a motion to approve Apostolo and Dodd?
Make a motion to approve Apostolo and Dodd.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Don't oppose that, come on.
Is it too late?
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11, this is to accept the elections not to disclose certain personal confidential information of the directors for their re-elected terms of office. Need a motion to accept those.
Can we get a motion to accept number 11?
Make a motion. I'll make a motion.
To accept number 11.
Number 11, elections not disclose certain information. I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Okay, item 12, election of officers. So y'all didn't have any change on your board. If you're satisfied with your current officer positions, you don't need to take any action. If you do want to consider rearranging officer positions, now would be the time when we would consider nominations for that.
Cool. Keith and I can talk back and forth about like the trustee. I have to wait till the ballet schedule comes out in the fall to determine my Thursdays or Wednesdays, whatever. But I think for now I'm cool with it.
Right, that's something we can change at another time.
Change it
We can
anytime.
just add it to the
As a
agenda.
matter of course, we put it on after each election cycle, but technically you can consider officer or trustee positions whenever you want.
Does anybody want the change?
No, I'm happy.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm happy with it. If y'all are happy with it,
I'm fine. I'm in a rhythm.
Good.
I think it's a good rhythm.
All right, good. Then we'll skip through 12 and 13, move to 14, the district registration form. That needs to be updated with the TCEQ to reflect the new terms of office, 2026 to 2030 for Chris and Sean. We have a motion to approve the updated form.
Make a motion to approve the updated form.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, 15, no need to update the list of local government officers since we didn't have a change on this board. 16, there's a memo in your packet regarding cybersecurity and artificial intelligence training. So you may recall a couple of years ago, we talked about cybersecurity training, and you only had to complete the training if you used a district computer system for more than 25% or more of your duties. And we talked about, well, is the Wi-Fi system a computer system? If you access the Google Drive, is that a computer system? And basically just said, look, use your own best judgment. If you think you're close on that, go ahead, complete it. It's not, that large of a time commitment, and kind of be done with it. So now the legislature has changed the requirement for cybersecurity, and they're requiring it to be completed by all officials regardless of. So,
General attestation.
correct. And they've also added a second training requirement of AI training. And that is only required if you use a district computer system for 25% or more of your service. So
That's
basically,
the
the old
qualifier.
metric that was used for cybersecurity is now being used for the AI training.
Okay.
Same deal. If you think you're close, watch them both. There's in the memo, there's links to some training options. A couple of them are free for each one. Shelley's going to send out an electronic version, so you don't have to type in all the question marks and equal signs in the link. So that would be easier just to click on it. The couple things to note. One, the training requirement is annual. So the first deadline is August 15th. August 31st. And then after that, you will have to complete it on an annual basis. The other thing is that according to some directors we've heard from who've already completed the training, there's not a certificate of completion like there was for your Public Information Act and your Open Meetings Act training. So just send an email to Shelley to let her know that you've completed it. He's on non-system. And just let her know, if you just did one training or if you did them both, and that will satisfy your training
It
officer.
says due by August.
Yes.
Will there be reminders?
I think this is a reminder for this year. Next year, we will have it back on the agenda since it's going to be an ongoing requirement. This is your reminder for the August of this year.
Is there you said there's like a link that we're gonna
Yeah,
get?
so in the packet, there's the memo pages 18 and 19. And I think there's a paper version there as well. And then Shelley's going to email you an electronic version of the memo you got in your stack there, so that y'all can just click on the link as opposed to having to type in that super long address.
Can you text me? Can you send it to me in a text?
Do that.
I guess we're failing cybersecurity, Brady. So
So there's no action that's necessary there. Happy to answer any of the questions you have other than that. That takes us to 16.
This,
yes,
Yeah.
that's it. I just wrote end of August and underlined it.
wait,
All right, hand it back over to Sean. I think we're down to 17.
receive the regular monthly SGRA Woodlands Division report.
All right, so we have a couple of things. The first thing is that I have nothing on the monthly operations report, but I'm going to yield my time to Aaron, who's going to cover the Woodlands Division project plan.
Yes. Looking forward.
Excited.
First of all, senior project plan as a document is on the Google Drive for y'all to use at your leisure. It's got roughly 70 projects in it for the next 10 years. There is a presentation that was given to the trustees last week that's starts on page 36. That was a great 40-minute discussion with everybody. I'm sure y'all if you want to go longer than 40 minutes, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll make it a little bit shorter. That's okay with y'all.
Yeah, we can go for the short version.
Okay, the short version. Well, relatively speaking, we'll just talk about how the project plan has changed from last time. Because y'all have already experienced, I think, the project plan from last year, since y'all have been on the board already 1 year at least. But we develop these project plans, we refresh them every year to reflect any operational changes, new studies that we performed, to update things like that, condition-based assessment on the water lines, things of that nature, and then the wastewater treatment plant have been a big part of that. But looking at page, well, whatever that is, you can see some examples of the studies that we've been doing over the past few years to populate the project plan. Roughly 95% of the projects in here are a result of studies like that. Moving on to the next slide, there's actually a whole list of them, based on category of the type of facility, projects that have been done, and also we have future project studies in the project plan too, as well as those, usual design, bid, build type projects. As every 10 years, we want to refresh them in case there's any change in need, any updates and condition, things of that nature. Next slide, 41, just kind of gives you about overview again of how we fund our projects. Most projects from our R&R fund, which comes from transfers from our O&M budget, which y'all will be hearing about next month from Chris, as well as bonds that we've gotten previously, grants that we've gotten from the federal government. And then there's a large amount of projects that we have no funds for to do. Particularly ones we plan to do next year, Town Center water line, and then starting the Woodlands Parkway water line project, which I understand y'all seen looking at a copy of the supplemental agreement for consideration, which that would pay for those two projects. Moving on to the next slide is basically the way that we schedule our meetings with y'all. It starts with the trustees really, and that's what we had last week for this project plan presentation. We bring it to individual MUDs the following week. And then next month in June, Chris will present the draft O&M budget to the trustees, followed by the MUDs. And then in July is when the MUDs will then decide how to move forward, the direction of the trustees. So then in August, the trustees can vote on how to move forward for the fiscal year 27 budget. Now, one thing to know, going on 43, I think this is a very important slide to talk about in a little bit of detail, is that past 2 years, our project plan, the 10-year period project plan has been over $700 million. This year is $353 million. Why is that? Because of the direction we've been given on a change of course for the wastewater plant, all the projects, besides the study to right-size the plant, which is ongoing. Besides that, every other project that was involved in that plant has been taken out. Also, some of the ACU waterline projects have been pushed into the future as a result of studies that reduced it as well some. But let's not give us a false sense of, that this is going to be the number in the foreseeable future. Because the plant, depending on how the direction, the study results in, you probably would be looking at this on 44, possibly another, we estimate as of now, $75 to $150 million. And we'll find that out as, about 12 months as a result of that study. But this is just a list of things that we do foresee based upon our knowledge and experience of the plant that will need to be addressed in the next 10 years. But the consultant will ultimately help us decide that.
So the estimate for wastewater treatment facility number 1 to do what we had voted on is between 75 and 150.
That's right, the very rough estimate, based upon what we're foreseeing will need to be done, but that does, our consultant will give us a more refined number. Beyond that, state this that, what we're really focusing on is projects that start already this fiscal year and will continue in FY27, or ones that'll start in FY27, because that's what really rolls up into the O&M budget for FY27. So everything beyond that, we plan accordingly. So we have funds in place for when it's needed for the projects. They are subject to change. So what we present in this slideshow is those projects that will be going on in FY27. And I don't
I don't feel, I probably want to go through all these, just to focus us again on those two first projects. Town Center Water Line. We have no funds for land acquisition or construction as of right now. And then Williams Parkway Water Line replacement, we have no funds whatsoever to start the project. Other than that, you have more typical water well rehab projects. We do a VSD number 6, which I've heard about. And then owner's advisor, as we talked about that, with the right sizing of the plant. And then improvements at our various wastewater plants and our collection system, force mains, the station rehabs. And one large gravity main project, the South Shore Rehab Project, one construction that fiscal year. The other thing we did change from last year to this year, or proposing to, on sheet 65, before we had kind of ongoing maintenance, but projects in our O&M budget, kind of thought for different types for each year. Instead of putting that in a different budget altogether where there's no other real project type stuff, decided to go ahead and put those in the R&R fund and the project plan. So you'll see projects now such as manhole rehab, painting at facilities, things like that, which will have an ongoing little bit of money each year as we continue to do that, maintenance work. Looking at FY27 as on its own, as far as projects for the R&R fund, looking at roughly $13 million. 2017 bonds, which back in 2017 we got over $40 million worth of bonds. We've used about half of it, so with half left. Out of that, in 2017, we're planning on using roughly $10 million worth of that remainder. Federal funding, we got $1.825 million for one project. We're going to be using half of that in 27 and then the other half in roughly in 28. Non-funded projects, that's Town Center and Woodlands Parkway Water Line. So we'll need that, but as of right now, we don't have that money on hand. So total for FY27, $39 million. Next slide, over the 10-year period, R&R funded projects, water wastewater, $101 million. 2017 bonds, so that includes what we spent before and then that $10 million. So the $23 million you see there is pretty much getting rid of everything we have left on projects that we've identified. Federal funding, that uses that other half or third roughly for that one project. And then for non-funded projects, then we're talking about not only Town Center and Woodlands Parkway, we're talking about all the other water line projects in the 10-year period that were identified, as well as some wastewater projects that were identified from a study back in 2017. Those are in kind of the later 5 years. We're going to do another study before we get to that point to see if we can reprioritize those projects or change the scope or maybe, reduce the scale of those projects. So more to come on those. But as of right now, the estimated need is $227 million for projects that are not funded because they're so large. For a total 10-year plan of $353 million. Once again, that does not include anything for wastewater plant 1 at this time. As I mentioned, the next two slides, those are those unfunded projects, water and wastewater, mostly water lines and sewer lines. So with that, open it up for any questions. But again, on your Google Drive, you'll have, here's a copy of it.
This deck.
The project plan. Each sheet has a lot of details as, this background, scope, budget, schedule, the schedule itself, map, everything like that. So enjoy reading that.
We're supposed to get the official pricing on Town Center and some of the other piping projects in the summer. Is that correct?
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Oh yeah, he's got.
you.
That's a follow up. All right, we can move on to that then, I guess. Thank you.
You.
associated with that is the next item.
Yeah, it's just a thick booklet, pages got stuck.
So
Right.
on the supplemental draft, we received comments, Brendan, revising that draft. But in the meantime, wanted to give you kind of some clarification, on the impacts of the first two tranches for the water line.
But you're on this one, okay.
Townsend, Liz Parkes. As we saw in the last couple of months, the first tranche of bonds for town center and engineering for Woodlands is about 32 million. And just to explain first, the front page is basically a summary pulling the information off the back 4 pages.
Okay,
So just wanted to pull it forward so that you could kind of see
stitch it all in.
all 4 sheets in one. So this is to show the impacts to the average customer for selling those 2 bond issues. First bond issue that you saw was 32 million. The other one was 30 million. So the first bond issue would result in about a $4.50 increase to the average customer. And then when the second one comes through, $4.27. That's on a 20-year bond. Then on a 25-year bond, it goes down a little bit per month, but the overall cost goes up because you're financing it longer. So you're extending the debt and paying more in interest. So that would be the result there. And then folks just asked, well, what would it look like if you did it on the tax rate side of things, which you can see down there at the bottom. It's probably not the direction you want to go for this first tranche or two, but certainly when we get more information on the wastewater treatment plant and all the tier 2 projects and all that, might consider a different avenue at that point. But at this point,
Right here.
Yeah, so the first part you're talking about is just paying for the water rates, and the second would be tax rates.
First increasing. Without anything.
you'd have to go back to the voters. It's a pretty involved process. And you likely wouldn't make sense to do that for $4.53 difference. But when you're looking at the treatment plant and the tier 2, all the other projects, which is a couple more.
In the aggregate.
Right. But going down this path for that first $4.50 probably makes sense.
So on the wholesale water rates, you said first bond and second bond, 20-year versus 25-year. The 20-year annual impact for the average household of 9,000 gallons a month roughly is or 10,000. We're looking at about $105.63 more per year.
Per year.
880
a month. That will go into effect in pieces over the next 5 years. So it wouldn't go into effect until the bonds move forward.
And so when you say in pieces, is that because of different tranches of the bonds or?
Right.
Okay, because it's not all at once. Okay.
Isn't it, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it cheaper to do the tax rates? Because first bond at 20 years is 54.31, but if you go down to tax rates, the first bond 2026 MUD 39 for us is 28.21. 28.21 is lower than 54.36. It's half.
Go.
Am I looking at this wrong?
Cost to the district. The difference that you're pointing out is just a representation. So we looked at, the cost to the average homestead on a tax rate basis based on an average homestead value. And in the other scenario, as far as water and sewer revenues, we looked at the cost on the average usage of 10,000 gallons a month, right? And so those numbers solve for the same revenue requirement. It's just that, the differential between usage and average homestead values, ends up with a slightly different cost component, looking at these two different ways. But at the end, the district share of the, $62 million of bonds is the same. Just the presentation of covering that additional debt service is slightly different between, again, looking at things from an increase in
Assumption
revenue.
versus valuation of the home.
Right.
Yeah, this does, what you're zeroing in on, Sean, is correct. That
Could someone explain the pros and cons of why I would want to do the people who use the water versus the homestead?
Right, and so at the end of the day, to be able to, and we talked about this a few times before, but all of the things being equal, if there was no change in Senate Bill 2 that required rollback tax elections and all that stuff, if there, none of that stuff applied, then it would be more beneficial to your residents to pay for the wholesale rate increase with additional tax revenue. Because you would be able to, now this district, we don't have a ton of commercial yet, but
Once it got starts to,
right, we're gonna have more. But because you've got the 20% residential homestead exemption that applies for residents and not for second homeowners or people who rent out houses or what have you. And you've also got over 65 and disabled exemptions for folks who qualify. And thirdly, because on average, now of course we're speaking in general terms, but on average, commercial businesses won't use as much on a per business basis as what a home will.
Right.
And so they are going to pay, commercial properties will likely pay more of the overall cost. It's paid for through taxes as opposed to if it's paid for with water rates when, it's based on what you use. So all else being equal, it most likely is more cost effective for residents to use taxes to pay for it. Because we have the SB2 requirement and develop versus developing, I know this district, you're able to say developing because we have the annex property, but we're talking about this across the Woodlands to try to be uniform.
Okay.
That it likely is going to be a fairly large political lift for boards to be able to explain to the community why a tax rate increase is good. You could make the argument, and we just went through 3 reasons why it actually is more beneficial. We didn't even add the 4th, which is that, if you're a residential homeowner, if you're itemizing your taxes, you also have the federal government paying a portion of the infrastructure costs when you get none of that if it's through water sewer rates. So that argument is certainly there to be made to the community, but it's likely going to be a heavy lift. And
Because of the stigma of
of the
tax.
tax increase.
in this community
Correct.
specifically.
Correct.
So it's not even a mathematical concern. It's more of an emotional stigma.
Yeah.
No,
And so if you're going to go and spend that political capital, make that effort, it probably makes the most sense to wait to do that until you have a larger ticket item like the wastewater treatment plant.
Got it.
These smaller bond issues, it's like the juice isn't likely worth the squeeze. Yes, you're right, Sean. It is probably cheaper, even on this bond issue, to have it paid for through taxes as opposed to rates, but it's not enough to really justify going through that gauntlet versus waiting and doing it one time.
Understand.
You would have to do, you don't want to do multiple elections.
Yeah.
Most likely you just want to do it once. So wait till you get that larger, facility that you're having a bond finance, which is going to be your wastewater treatment plant. Then make the push to the community to be able to explain why it's actually more cost effective to do it with taxes versus rates. And do it then. And here, we'll just bounce along. We get 11 cents from the GRP rate reduction that we used as kind of seed money for the first infrastructure renewal fee. We'll get a recommendation from Eric and the FA on how much, David and Adam, how much to bump that 11 cents up to for these first 2 tranches of bonds. And we'll kind of bounce along with that until we get the larger ticket item and then go to your point. But you're exactly right. And the cost numbers will likely show that it's more beneficial in the long run to handle it through taxes.
Okay. And I mean, obviously, well, I'm assuming obviously that this does not account for our debt cliff that's coming that will change our situation that's different than other.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have some of your internal debt coming off, which would allow you a short-term opportunity. I mean, you've got a few variables floating around.
Mhm.
Take the defined area out, but you do have some development coming in within the legacy portion of your district. You approved a reimbursement agreement with the developer there. So they may have some bonds that get layered in and end up absorbing as that rate will otherwise go down, that you end up keeping your rate flat by layering in
Okay.
bonds for the future development. But assuming that there is some level of reduction, even taking that variable out, then yes, you may be able to move a penny over from debt service to maintenance to be able to pick up some of the cost of this and not have to increase your rates as much.
Okay, cool.
I have,
Come on that.
yep.
Which one was that? 18?
19.
That was 19? The one we just covered was 19? Okay.
Yeah.
20, attorney's report,
Nothing additional.
21.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, so we got a few items here. Got some projects that are in design, some that are in construction at this point. So just gonna go down the list here as quickly as we can. The couple of them that are designed, we have a couple of lift stations, one for Woodlands Village, Sterling Ridge, west of FM 2978. We're in the process of getting those through permitting at this moment. The lift station to serve Trade Center, section 1415 and parcel T2A, that's in relation to the utility project that we're doing. That is where the Sewell development is. That one, we're finalizing our permitting, but we are working through the process of advertising for bid, taking place on the today and on the 27th, and we plan to open bids on June 4th. So we'll let y'all know in the next meeting, hopefully a low bidder at that point.
It's our new car dealership coming in, right?
That's correct. Yes. So that's it on but no actions at this time, just more of giving y'all updated information on those. Status of our construction, our detention ponds that are serving Sterling Ridge west of FM 2978. At this point, they have started construction. They are in the process of excavating the ponds and placing dirt on site for future development. We do have, there are no change orders at this time, but we do have our first pay estimate that has come in the amount of $241,797.60. So in this meeting, we'd like to get that amount approved. And the other project that's in construction is the water, sanitary sewer and drainage that's serving the Trade Center site. That has, we've worked through the contracts and we're in the process of getting started with that construction. But no actions at this time for that project.
Is that on budget when you say the pay estimate that's coming in? I mean,
It's on budget. Yes. No adjustments to
you
the,
said no change orders. I just wanted to be clear that
Yes, sir.
this milestone that they're,
as these pay estimates come in, it's on the budget or what's already been accounted for.
sorry.
So that is all.
All right, so we just need a motion to write a check.
Well, we don't write them. We're just concurring in the developer's payment of the check. This is basically paper enough their right to reimbursement once the time comes. Once they've completed the project, completed vertical improvements, they'd be eligible for reimbursement. We're not actually paying any funds from the district account.
Okay, so what do I need a motion
A
for?
motion to concur in pay estimate number 1.
I'd like to make a motion to concur in pay estimate number 1.
I'd like to make a,
Have a motion.
yeah, I'd like to second that motion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, you're good. Sometimes I get tongue-tied.
Talking.
Receive developers report and authorize any action necessary in connection therewith.
Have a developer rep, so we can skip over that.
Receive and or act on the general manager's report.
All right,
Sir.
general manager's report starts on page 71. On 71, you'll see list of actual projects, about 178 active projects. Those are projects that's where the developer or homeowner is proposing to do something, either a new development or redevelopment of their property, commercial, residential, where they'll submit drawings, we'll review them and do inspections. So we have 178 open of those right now. Last month we did 44 inspections. of those types of projects. And then also did over 1,200 work orders throughout the business last month. Next page gets into the ditches and drainage. And so if you'll turn to this green spreadsheet that we provided, this is a summary of all the drainage work that's been done. On the Woodlands. You'll see y'all didn't to begin with have very much work to do, if any. But this is a summary of all the districts throughout the Woodlands, so you kind of see what we've been doing to address pipe failure and sortation and vegetative cutback and such. So we'll continue to update this each month. The green is what we've completed. The white and the tan are what is to be completed. So we'll continue to update this and provide this for you. Like I said, y'all didn't originally have a lot to do versus some of the other districts. We'll continue to update that as we go through. Wanted to point out, AWB summer conference is coming up in June 18th, the 20th. So some of us are going. I know if you haven't registered and intend to, please register, reach out to Shelley and she can help get that organized. We're looking at doing a new director orientation, June 12th. I know that y'all already gone through that before, so may not apply, but I just wanted to share that with you. And then we're looking at an all MUDS meeting to go over the water line renewal projects, just to give an update. And kind of go through the supplemental, just get, again, the new board members up to speed on, where we are and where we've been on this project. I don't have a date on
Like I
it.
said, is summer?
Looking probably hopefully in June would be ideal, but more to come on that. Then further in the packet, you'll see on page 91, a letter from GRP, just summarizing the pro rata voting shares for all of the GRP members as it relates, 92, as it relates to the global amendment that we heard about the last couple of months. So you'll see that the Woodlands division is a 22% voting share for once that vote comes about. Let's see, and then continuing on in the packet, we received quite a few thank yous from customers, including a couple that actually went to the extent of writing a thank you card and sent that in for some of our folks that they encountered in the field. So really appreciate it.
Wow.
Yeah, when we receive stuff like that.
Those.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, I'll kick it to John for communications.
I do.
Hey,
Afternoon,
Page
sir.
83 starts your report. There, top 83, you can see what our primary focuses have been for the past month. We're going to be heightening our focus on water conservation going into the summer months. You'll see a lot more on that now, of course. More water use outdoors, so we're going to help folks water wisely. Wanted to update you on our school-based water education program. So we just wrapped up a pilot program with Tough Elementary fifth graders based on water education and water conservation. So they had TEKS-based classroom instruction, and then they had a water conservation kit they took home, worked with their parents to implement things like faucet aerators, low flow shower heads, and so forth, and then report back on that activity and the water savings occurred. So we're assessing that pilot program. We'll make any adjustments based off those findings. The goal is to bring this to all fifth graders in the township in the next school year. And we're working jointly with the SGRA and the township on this effort. So
that sounds wonderful. I had a program like that 20-something, 30 years ago, and I had a low flow faucet connection put on, and it's still on my parents.
Still saving water.
Yeah, I mean, they don't use it. It's in the kids' bathroom. But when my kids now wash their hands at grandma's house, it's still there. So yeah, it's great.
But those aerators are so easy to install too. On page 84, top there, wanted to note that we did get an award. That watermark award from TAWWA. Eric went down there recently to the conference and received that. This is very much an agency-wide effort to, the award was for bringing WaterSmart from 72% up to above 80 now. Percent of our customers registered. And so it was for that again, agency-wide effort to make that happen. Next few pages, you've got current communications, examples thereof, and a nice article in Woodlands Community Magazine, Water Quality on page 87. And with that, any questions? Thank you.
Keith isn't here.
Did he attend?
He attended the trustees meeting and, all I know is they voted on, wastewater number 1.
Have the engineering proceed to look at the sizing and what to do with it.
Yeah.
And that'll take about a year.
Which is what we instructed him.
I had a question on the upsizing or resizing plant. We had talked like 4 years ago, whenever we kind of started, or I guess when we were beginning stages of this, about like putting a large tank for overflow. And now that we're not destroying and rebuilding, we're just placing in place. Is there anything that's going to be added to wastewater plant number 1 for large water flow intake, like hurricanes and things like that?
So that's all part of the review and conversation as well. Part of my concern is if you resize the facility to get the average daily flow down lower to like 6, 7, something like that, they're also going to look at the 2-hour peak flow, which is likely going to increase, right? And so the basins you're talking about would be to offset the peak flow.
Yeah.
No, so if you look at the right sizing, it may be your best option is to leave it like it is, not to talk to the TCQ, re-rate the facility, to leave it at 7.8 MGD and an 18 peak. Because the plant right now can handle 25, 30 MGD. You send a lot of water through it, right? It busts permit because it's a lot of water above permit, but it's also rainwater. So it doesn't harm the stream, it's just you're above limit. So long story short, we're going to look at it, but it may be at the end the preference to leave everything like it is, so you don't have to spend additional capital putting in the tanks and the basins, tearing down trees and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean that was forever ago, back when Freeze was talking about that.
Right.
So cool. Sweet. Do we need to recess?
We do not.
All right, we don't need to reconvene. So any matters for future agendas? All right. It is 12:45. Where'd it go?